Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where noise surrounds us. We're constantly bombarded with sounds, voices, music, traffic, and the constant hum of technology. But have you ever noticed the power that silence holds? It's easy to overlook, to dismiss it as empty or dull. But silence is not empty. It holds power. It's in the quiet moments that we find clarity, peace, and sometimes the courage to change. In a world that pushes us to speak louder, to be seen, to be heard, silence can seem like a weakness. But in reality, silence is a strength. When we choose to embrace it, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of who we are. Silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of reflection, of stillness. It's in that space where we can truly hear ourselves, understand our emotions, and see the world with a clearer perspective. Silence has the ability to bring us back to what really matters. Silence is often misunderstood. In a world where constant communication is encouraged, people talk about being heard, about making noise. But what if the true power lies in the quiet? What if silence, rather than being a lack of something, is the presence of something much more valuable? In moments of silence, we find the space to understand ourselves. When we are not distracted by the noise of the world, we can hear our own thoughts clearly. We can listen to our hearts and understand what truly matters to us. It's in silence that we can take a step back from our busy lives and gain a clearer sense of who we are. We can ask ourselves important questions that we don't always make time to consider. What do I really want from life? What am I truly passionate about? What are my deepest fears? In the silence, we are not influenced by the opinions of others or the noise of external pressures. We can simply be with ourselves in our most authentic form. And it is through this connection with ourselves that we discover our true purpose and direction. Silence also gives us the chance to reflect on our past, our choices, and the lessons we've learned. It provides the space to evaluate where we've been and where we want to go. Too often we rush through life without taking a moment to reflect, to slow down, and to assess our path. But when we embrace silence, we can review our actions, acknowledge our mistakes, and celebrate our successes. It's in these quiet moments that we learn and grow, becoming better versions of ourselves. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to guide us towards self-discovery. In a world that demands answers, silence doesn't require us to have all the solution. It simply asks us to be present, to listen to ourselves, and to trust that the answers will come in their own time. Silence is not a void. It is a space for introspection, for understanding, and for clarity. When we choose silence, we are choosing to connect with our inner selves and to trust that we already have the wisdom within us to navigate life's challenges. Through silence, we also learn to embrace our emotions. In the midst of noise, it's easy to drown out our feelings, to push them aside in favor of productivity or external expectations. But silence gives us the space to feel, to process, and to understand our emotions. It helps us acknowledge our pain, our joy, and our fears, allowing us to deal with them in a healthy way. It's through silence that we can come to terms with our emotions and make peace with ourselves. Silence, therefore, is not something to fear. It's not an empty space. It's a space of opportunity, of growth, and of understanding. When we embrace silence, we allow ourselves the chance to truly know who we are And when we know ourselves, we become empowered to create the life we desire. Silence has the power to change everything because it changes us first. It helps us grow, heal, and find the clarity we need to move forward with purpose and confidence. Silence has an incredible power when it comes to decision-making. In a world filled with constant distractions and noise, making clear decisions can be difficult. We are often overwhelmed by the opinions of others, the pressure to act quickly, and the never-ending stream of information coming our way. But it is in moments of silence that we find the clarity needed to make choices that align with our true selves. When we are silent, we are able to step away from the chaos and take a breath. We can hear our own thoughts more clearly without being drowned out by external voices. In these quiet moments, we can think deeply and reflect on the options in front of us, weighing the pros and cons without being rushed. Silence gives us the space to consider the long-term consequences of our decisions, rather than making choices based on short-term pressures or fleeting emotions. Often we make decisions in the heat of the moment, reacting to situations without fully processing them. The noise around us can lead to impulsive choices that we later regret. Silence, however, offers a chance to pause. In that pause, we can reflect on the bigger picture. We can ask ourselves questions like, is this the right path for me? Or what will be the impact of this decision in the future? These questions are difficult to answer when we are surrounded by noise, but in the stillness, they come naturally. In silence, we connect with our intuition. Our inner voice, often drowned out by the noise of the world, speaks loudest when we allow ourselves the space to listen. That inner voice is our guide. It knows what is best for us, even when we are unsure or uncertain. When we choose silence, we create a safe space where we can hear that voice without distraction. And it is that voice that can help us navigate complex decisions, whether in our personal or professional lives. Another benefit of silence in decision-making is that it allows us to separate our emotions from our thoughts. When we are caught up in a rush of feelings, fear, anger, excitement, it can cloud our judgment. We might make a decision based on how we feel in the moment, rather than what is truly best for us in the long run. Silence helps us to detach from our immediate emotions and approach decisions with a clear, level-headed perspective. It allows us to see things objectively, without the distortion that comes from being emotionally overwhelmed. Silence also enables us to better understand the situations we face. It provides an opportunity for deep reflection, giving us the time to think critically about our circumstances. When we are constantly bombarded with information and noise, it becomes difficult to make sense of things. We might miss important details, overlook key facts, or make assumptions based on incomplete information. But in silence, we can take a step back and assess things more thoroughly. We can gather the necessary facts, reflect on the situation from multiple angles, and make an informed decision that is based on a comprehensive understanding of what is at stake. In decision-making, silence fosters patience. It reminds us that not every choice needs to be made immediately. Often the best decisions come when we allow ourselves the time to think, to reflect, and to wait for the right moment. Silence teaches us to trust the process and trust that answers will come when the time is right. In a world that encourages quick fixes and instant gratification, silence teaches us the value of patience, helping us resist the urge to rush into decisions, that we may later regret. In addition, silence can also help us manage external pressure. In situations where others are pushing us to make a decision quickly, silence allows us to hold firm and not be swayed by outside influences. When everyone else is talking and the pressure mounts, it's easy to lose sight of what we truly want or need. Silence, however, allows us to regain control over the situation. It gives us the ability to tune out the noise and focus on what truly matters, ensuring that our decisions are aligned with our values and goals. Making decisions in silence doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or ignoring the needs of others. It simply means giving ourselves the space to make decisions that are thoughtful, intentional, and true to who we are. Silence allows us to listen to our own hearts, trust our instincts, and make choices that will lead us to a place of greater fulfillment and peace. It is a practice that can guide us through the noise of life, helping us to make choices that resonate deeply with our true self. Silence is not only a powerful tool for reflection, but it also has the remarkable ability to heal. In a world that is constantly moving, where we are bombarded with noise, distractions, and the endless demands of daily life, silence offers us a refuge. It provides a space for rest and recovery, not just physically but emotionally and mentally as well. In the stillness, we can find the healing we so desperately need. When we are surrounded by the noise of the world, it becomes easy to ignore our own emotional needs. We might brush aside feelings of sadness, stress, or anxiety, convincing ourselves that we simply do not have time to address them. Yet it is in moments of silence that we can allow ourselves to feel fully. Silence allows us to sit with our emotions without judgment or interruption. In the quiet, we have the opportunity to confront our pain, to acknowledge our fears, and to understand the emotions we are experiencing. Without the pressure to keep going or to push our feelings aside, we can give ourselves the space to heal. Healing requires acknowledgement. We cannot heal what we do not acknowledge. Often in the rush of daily life, we suppress our feelings, thinking that if we ignore them long enough, they will go away. But this is far from the truth. Unresolved emotions build up over time and can lead to stress, burnout, or even physical illness. Silence helps us confront these emotions. It gives us a moment to pause, breathe, and ask ourselves what we are truly feeling. By acknowledging our pain or discomfort, we give ourselves permission to begin the process of healing. Silence in this way becomes a powerful tool for emotional release. In addition to emotional healing, silence also allows us to heal mentally. We live in a fast-paced world where our minds are constantly racing. We are bombarded with information from every angle: social media, work demands, family obligations, and more. It can be exhausting to keep up with the constant flow of information. Our minds need a break, a chance to rest and recover. Silence provides that much-needed mental rest. It gives our minds a chance to reset, to release the clutter and confusion, and to focus on the present moment. In these moments of silence, we can regain clarity and perspective. Our minds are no longer clouded by the noise of the world, and we can think more clearly and rationally. Moreover, silence helps us to reconnect with our inner self. When we are constantly busy, we can lose touch with who we are, what we truly want, and what we need to feel fulfilled. We get caught up in external expectations, the opinions of others, and societal pressures. But silence offers a way to return to our true self. In the quiet, we can reflect on our lives, reassess our goals, and realign ourselves with our purpose. It is in these moments of stillness that we can hear our inner voice more clearly. We can rediscover our passions, our values, and our desires. Silence, in this sense, becomes a tool for personal growth and self-awareness. Healing also requires forgiveness, and silence can help facilitate that process. Holding on to anger, resentment, or regret can weigh us down emotionally. These feelings can fester and prevent us from moving forward in life. Silence gives us the opportunity to let go. In the quiet, we can reflect on past hurts, acknowledge our feelings, and when we are ready, let go of the negative emotions that are holding us back. By offering ourselves the gift of silence, we create a space in which we can forgive, not only others, but ourselves as well. Silence becomes a path to emotional freedom, allowing us to release the burdens that we have carried for so long. In times of grief or loss, silence also plays an essential role in the healing process. After the passing of a loved one or the end of a significant relationship, we often find ourselves in a state of emotional turmoil. We might feel overwhelmed by sadness, confusion, or even anger. In these times, silence can provide comfort. It offers a quiet space where we can process our grief without the pressure to act or speak. We do not have to explain ourselves or justify our emotions in moments of silence. We can simply sit with our feelings and allow them to flow through us, knowing that healing takes time. Silence becomes a sanctuary in which we can grieve, mourn, and begin to heal at our own pace. Silence also allows us to build resilience. By facing our pain, sitting with our emotions, and allowing ourselves the time to heal, we grow stronger. Silence teaches us to embrace our vulnerability and to trust in the healing process. It helps us to understand that healing is not linear, that it takes time, and that it's okay to not have all the answers immediately. Silence becomes a powerful ally in the journey toward healing, offering us the space we need to mend emotionally, mentally, and physically. In essence, silence is a healing force that restores our minds, bodies, and spirits. It allows us to confront our emotions, find clarity, and reconnect with ourselves. It helps us release pain, practice forgiveness, and build resilience. In a world filled with noise, silence offers us the peace and the time we need to heal. Silence is a powerful catalyst for self-awareness and growth. In our noisy world, it can be challenging to hear ourselves amidst the constant influx of information, the endless chatter, and the external pressures that shape our lives. We often get caught up in the rush of daily activities, responding to the demands of others, and fulfilling the expectations placed upon us. But in silence, we find the space to reconnect with our inner selves, to reflect on our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and to gain clarity on who we are and where we want to go. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. Without it, we are like a ship adrift at sea, without a clear sense of direction or purpose. We might go through the motions of life, but we aren't fully present or engaged. Silence provides the opportunity to pause and look inward. It allows us to examine our thoughts and feelings without distractions, to identify patterns in our behavior, and to become aware of the ways in which we might be limiting ourselves. It is in silence that we can ask ourselves the tough questions. What do I really want from life? What are my fears? What are my strengths and weaknesses? By reflecting on these questions in a quiet, unhurried space, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. In silence, we are able to shed the external noise that influences our decisions and actions. So much of our behavior is shaped by the expectations and opinions of others. We are constantly bombarded by societal norms, family expectations, and cultural messages that tell us who we should be, what we should do, and how we should think. Silence helps us disconnect from these external influences and tune into our true selves. It gives us the space to listen to our own desires and aspirations, free from the pressure to conform to the ideas of others. In this way, silence becomes a tool for reclaiming our authenticity and discovering who we truly are beneath the layers of expectation. Growth also comes from confronting the uncomfortable aspects of ourselves. Silence provides the time and space to confront our fears, our insecurities, and the parts of ourselves that we may not want to acknowledge. It's easy to avoid dealing with our struggles when we are constantly distracted. We can push our fears and anxieties aside, pretending they don't exist, but they continue to affect our behavior and mindset. In silence, we are forced to face these emotions. It is in these quiet moments of self-reflection that we have the opportunity to heal, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to transform ourselves. Confronting our discomforts head-on in silence enables us to grow beyond them. Silence also allows us to assess our actions and choices. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to keep moving forward without taking the time to evaluate whether we are on the right path. We can get so caught up in achieving goals or meeting deadlines that we forget to check if those goals are truly aligned with our values and long-term aspirations. Silence helps us pause and reflect on our journey. It gives us the opportunity to assess whether we are living in alignment with our core values, or if we are simply going through the motions. By reflecting on our actions in a quiet space, we can make course corrections and adjust our trajectory to ensure we are living with purpose and intention. Self-awareness through silence also helps us build emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions, as well as the emotions of others. In moments of silence, we can reflect on our emotional responses to various situations and become more aware of how our emotions influence our actions. This awareness allows us to manage our reactions more effectively, to respond to challenges with calm and clarity, and to navigate difficult situations with empathy and understanding. By being mindful of our emotions in silence, we can develop the emotional intelligence needed to build healthier relationships and handle life's challenges with grace. Silence also nurtures our ability to listen. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the act of listening is often overlooked. We may hear what others are saying, but we don't always listen deeply. True listening requires presence, attention, and understanding. Silence helps us develop this skill. By practicing silence, we become better listeners, not just to others, but to ourselves as well. We become more attuned to our inner thoughts and feelings, which allows us to better understand our needs and desires. This deep listening, cultivated in silence, enhances our relationships with others and with ourselves. The growth that comes from silence is not always immediate, but it is lasting. It may take time to process the insights gained from quiet reflection, but over time, these insights shape our behavior, our mindset, and our approach to life. As we become more self-aware, we gain the confidence to make choices that are in line with our true self. We learn to trust our intuition, to follow our own path, and to embrace our uniqueness. Silence then becomes not just a tool for self-awareness, but a pathway to growth. It allows us to connect with our deeper self, to confront our fears, and to transform our lives from the inside out. Silence is not only about the absence of sound, it's about the presence of understanding. In relationships, it often becomes the unspoken bridge that connects us more deeply with others. In our fast-paced world, where everyone is constantly talking, sharing, and broadcasting their thoughts, silence offers a space for genuine listening and deeper connection. It's in the moments of silence that we can truly understand the people around us without interruption, without assumptions, just with pure attention. This simple yet profound act of listening can transform our relationship. In our daily conversations, we often rush to speak, to give advice, or to offer solutions. We think that by talking more, we can help or guide others. But what if the most helpful thing we can do is simply listen? Listening is a gift we often overlook. When we truly listen, we give the other person the space to express themselves, to share their thoughts and emotions freely. Silence, in this sense, becomes an act of love. It's the willingness to be present and to hold space for someone else's thoughts and feelings without trying to steer the conversation or impose our own views. When we listen in silence, we invite the other person to open up. We create a safe space where they feel heard and understood. And in that space, trust is built. Trust is not something that can be forced or rushed. It takes time, and it grows in the quiet moments between words. When we choose to listen in silence, we allow the other person to feel valued. This simple act can make all the difference in any relationship, whether it's with a friend, family member, colleague, or partner. Silence also allows us to listen to what is not being said. Sometimes, people may not have the words to express their feelings, or they may be hesitant to speak their truth. In these situations, silence becomes an invitation for deeper communication. It's the space where emotions can be felt and understood without the need for words. By staying silent, we give others the opportunity to speak when they are ready, without pressuring them to do so. Silence can help us pick up on the subtle cues, the body language, the expressions, the pauses that reveal what words cannot. In this way, silence doesn't mean absence, it means presence in a different form. It's in the quiet moments that we can truly listen to the unspoken words. Moreover, silence fosters empathy. It encourages us to put ourselves in the other person's shoes and understand their perspective without jumping to conclusions. When we're silent, we allow ourselves the time to process what the other person is going through. We don't rush to fix their problems or give unsolicited advice. Instead, we sit with them in their pain, joy, or confusion. We validate their feelings simply by being there, by listening attentively, and by showing them that they matter. Empathy is born in silence because it's in those quiet moments that we open ourselves to others' experiences without distraction or interference. In relationships, silence also offers the opportunity for reflection. It allows us to step back and think about the dynamics of our interaction. Often when we are caught up in the noise of everyday life, we miss important signals. We might not realize when we're talking over someone, dismissing their feelings, or not giving them enough space to express themselves. Silence provides the time to reflect on our behavior, to check in with ourselves, and to make necessary adjustments. It's in the silence that we can examine how we communicate and how we can improve the way we relate to others. It helps us move beyond surface-level exchanges and create more meaningful connections. Silence in relationships also cultivates patience. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, silence teaches us to wait and to be patient with others. Not every conversation needs to be filled with words. Sometimes it's okay to sit in silence together, allowing the other person to process their thoughts, their feelings, or their challenges. Silence teaches us that relationships are not about constant talking, but about being present, even in the quiet moments. This patience allows us to connect more deeply with others, because we learn to accept them without forcing a response, a solution, or an. Silence can also help heal conflicts. Often when tensions rise, the instinct is to argue, to defend our points of view, or to prove that we are right. But silence can be the antidote to conflict. By taking a step back and choosing not to speak in moments of anger, we create the space needed for clarity and calm. Silence allows emotions to settle and gives both parties time to think and reflect. When we choose silence in moments of conflict, we create room for resolution. It allows us to approach the situation with a clear mind, an open heart, ready to listen and understand the other person's perspective. In relationships, silence does not mean distance or disengagement. It means being fully present, even without words. It's in the quiet moments that we can connect with others on a deeper level, without the distractions that often cloud communication. Silence, when used thoughtfully, is one of the most powerful tools for building stronger, more meaningful relationships. It allows us to listen more effectively, to empathize more deeply, and to reflect on how we interact with those around us. In a world that often values speed and noise, silence offers a chance to slow down, to reflect, and to connect in ways that words alone can. Silence is not just a passive state of being, it is a powerful tool that allows us to cultivate patience and trust, especially when we feel the pressure to act quickly. In a world that is constantly moving, where everything is expected to happen at lightning speed, silence offers us a moment to pause, to step back, and to give ourselves the space to trust the process. The speed of modern life often pushes us to make decisions impulsively, to jump into situations without taking the time to consider all factors. Yet, silence provides an opportunity to slow down and process, to wait for clarity before taking the next step. Patience is a virtue that is rarely valued in today's society. We are often told that we need to act fast, to make quick decisions, to seize every opportunity before it passes by. The pressure to move quickly can lead to mistakes, rushed decisions, and outcomes that are far from ideal. Silence teaches us the value of waiting. In silence, we learn to trust that not every decision needs to be made immediately. Sometimes it is in the quiet moments of reflection that the best answers reveal themselves. By choosing silence, we give ourselves the chance to consider all angles, to think through every possible outcome, and to make the most informed decision possible. In these moments of silence, we also learn to trust ourselves. It's easy to second-guess ourselves when the world is moving fast, when everyone around us is pushing us to make decisions or take action. The external noise can drown out our internal voice, making it difficult to hear our true desires and instincts. Silence, however, allows us to reconnect with our inner selves. It gives us the space to hear our thoughts clearly and to trust that we know what is best for us. Silence empowers us to trust our intuition, to listen to our heart, and to make decisions that align with our values and goals. Trusting the process is another crucial aspect of patience that silence helps cultivate. We live in a world that encourages immediate results, and when things don't happen quickly, we often feel discouraged. We question whether we are on the right path or whether we are doing something wrong. But silence reminds us that some things take time. The process of growth, healing, or achieving our goals is not always linear. It requires patience, persistence, and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. In the quiet moments of reflection, we come to understand that success and progress are not always measured in immediate outcomes. Sometimes the most important steps are those that take time to develop, to mature, and to come into fruition. Silence also helps us let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives. When we are constantly trying to control the outcome of every situation, we limit our ability to trust in the natural flow of life. We get caught up in the idea that we need to make everything happen according to our timeline, which can lead to frustration and burnout. Silence teaches us that not everything is within our control. It helps us let go of the need for perfection and encourages us to trust that things will fall into place in their own time. By embracing silence, we embrace the unknown, trusting that the universe, or life itself, will provide the right circumstances for us to succeed. This trust also extends to the relationships we have with others. Silence teaches us patience in our interactions with people. In relationships, we often feel the need to speak, to fix problems, or to provide answers. But sometimes the best thing we can do is to be silent and wait for the other person to speak. Silence in relationships allows for reflection and understanding. It gives others the space to express themselves without feeling rushed or pressured. By practicing silence, we show respect for the other person's thoughts and feelings. We allow them to be heard, to be understood, and to express themselves at their own pace. In this way, silence fosters patience and builds stronger, more empathetic relationships. Moreover, silence in moments of conflict can be a powerful tool for resolution. When we are in the heat of an argument or disagreement, it's easy to say things in the heat of the moment that we may regret later. Silence, however, offers the chance to pause, to cool down, and to regain perspective. It allows both parties to step back, reflect on the situation, and approach the conflict with a clearer mind. Rather than escalating tensions, silence creates the space needed for understanding, compromise, and resolution. In this way, silence becomes an essential tool for fostering patience in our relationships. Patience, cultivated through silence, is not about passivity or inaction. It is about having the wisdom to wait for the right moment, to trust that the right answers will come, and to believe in the process of life. Silence helps us understand that we don't need to rush or force. It teaches us that the most meaningful outcomes often require time, effort, and perseverance. By embracing silence, we not only cultivate patience, but also develop a deeper trust in ourselves, in others, and in the unfolding of life itself. It is through silence that we find the peace and patience to navigate life's complexities, knowing that the best things often come to those who